Thank you for listening to the Gateway to the Rockies podcast from Visit Aurora from the rafters of the Stanley Marketplace. This is the show dedicated to telling the stories of Aurora, Colorado. Hi there, I'm Dave, Senior Marketing Manager for Visit Aurora. There's treasure to be found in the Havana Square Shopping Center in Aurora. There you'll find the Heirlooms Antique Mall, more than 14,000 square feet of curiosities where 65 vendors showcase vintage furniture, jewelry, oddities, collectibles, and more. It's been owned by Scott Davenport since 2015. Thanks for joining us, Scott.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Scott, how does one end up the owner of an antique mall?
Well, I started in the antique business. I had gotten laid off from one of the phone companies in town, and I started selling some of my Mexican pottery. And then I was in one location for 8 years, and I took a second spot. And I brought my wife back to look at the space when I took the second space, and I stepped on the stair going up, and I told my wife, I said, I'm going to buy this place. And
Wow.
1 year later, I did. It was amazing.
So you went from having just spaces and other antique malls to basically now being the owner of your own antique mall. You're supporting 6 basically small businesses in that space. How do you determine if a vendor is a good fit for Heirloom?
Well, I'm a little different than most. What I try to do is I give people that haven't done it before an opportunity.
Okay.
Because when I did it for the first time, I had never done it before, and somebody gave me the choice. So I try to do that as well, and we take it as we go. I require my dealers to come in a couple times a month to work their spaces minimum. Some places don't have that requirement. They're not required to work or anything, but if they're good, they stay. If not, we swap them out.
How valuable is that? You're serving as like a mentor to a lot of these people, giving them an opportunity, and you have firsthand business. You're not, a real estate guy who decided that this was your business. You actually you got your hands dirty in this business, so you know kind of the pitfalls for them to avoid, I imagine.
Absolutely, yeah, no, and I've had 4 other dealers that have opened their own places after being in my store for a while and working with me and learning. So yeah, it's good.
Have you ever had to tell a vendor like, hey, this is too odd even for our store?
No. So we specialize in the weird.
Yeah.
As long as it's not offensive, and that offensive thing nowadays, it's subjective, right?
Right, very much so. What's moving the needle right now for you in the world of antiques? What's really hot?
So we sell a lot of vinyl.
Okay.
We have thousands of vinyl in the stores, and believe it or not, old books are really good.
There's been kind of a resurgence of that old way, I guess, of enjoying this media. It seems like vinyl in particular, people like the warmth of the sound, the tactile nature of owning vinyl, and you've seen a resurgence in that.
Exactly, yeah. And like with my mall, I've stayed away from the mid-century where a lot of people have gone into that stuff. It's not my niche. I kind of like to be an antique store for the common man, so our prices are a little bit lower than a lot of the places around.
I saw your Facebook post about the recent anniversary of the Heirloom fire. Can you tell us a little bit about what happened and what that last year has been like for you?
Absolutely. So it was July 21st, and it was about noon. I was on the phone calling a dealer to see if they could do a better price, and I heard a big bang, and I turned around, and my circuit panel on the top floor, the flames were 4 feet high.
Oh, wow.
So I grabbed the fire extinguisher. I was able to put it out, but because the wires were live, it would arc back up again. So I used 3 fire extinguishers, and by the time I couldn't do it anymore, but the fire department got there. So we were very fortunate. God was with us. When the fire department came in, because it was electrical and none of the stuff that was around it, none of the paper and stuff was around it, didn't catch fire, they were able to just use the chemical for the electrical versus the water. So I was closed for 6 months.
Wow.
I mean, not 6 months, I'm sorry, 6 weeks. And we reopened, and business is good. My customers and dealers have been fantastic.
On the heels of the pandemic, though, that had to have been just another kind of gut punch to a degree. Like, I have to reset for 6 weeks and reestablish, and I imagine it was pretty costly even if you had insurance. I can't imagine the stress that would have been for you.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So we were just coming back from the pandemic, And so that happened. And again, so people come and they see you're closed. And, antiques are just like a restaurant or a bar, right? If something closes, then they go to another one, and then all of a sudden that becomes their favorite one.
Right.
So it takes a minute, but again, I've been very blessed, and everything is good. It's my best year so far. So.
And part of that blessing, I think, is you putting out blessings into the world. You're an important stakeholder in the city of Aurora. You've given back. You collected 800 care kits and more than 4,000 pairs of socks to support individuals experiencing homelessness in the city. Talk about what this city means to you and why supporting its people is so important to you.
Well, I think that we have to give back. Right, so whatever, if it's tithing or whatever you want to call it, you get back what you give out. And so it's really important to me. The city of Aurora has been incredible to me. I'm blessed to be on Havana Street that has an incredible organization with those board members that do everything to help us. So all the support I need, the small business district of Aurora, I take the online classes that they offer for free, and they're always there for support. So Aurora gives me, and so I like to give back.
We got a chance to talk to Chance Horiuchi a couple of podcast episodes ago. She's the executive director of the on Havana Street, Havana Business Improvement District. That's roughly 2,100 businesses in the most diverse area of the state. Talk about the dynamic of that community and how everyone kind of comes together to support one another. They're so diverse, but it's a real sense of community.
It absolutely is, and Chance is Woman of the Year every year for me. But again, it's the whole organization. The diversity of on Havana Street, I think, is the strength of it. And again, the organization bringing all the businesses together. So there's support amongst each other to do it. So I'm very happy to have been involved in all of this. So, yeah, they're great.
Saw you on Channel 4. There was a recent incident, and it seems to be an elevating thing. How are the businesses going to be able to come together to fight this organized shoplifting ring that seems to be happening right now?
Right, and it's not only on Havana Street
right.
or Aurora. It's Colorado. It's the United States. So we have our plan as a district, which we don't like to talk about.
That's fair.
But you know what I mean? So we're doing what we can to do it. But again, it's like if you have a child that you don't spank or discipline, they just get worse. And so when criminals know that they're not going to be disciplined, that's where it needs to happen.
It seems like they've gotten bolder and more organized in the last several years, and we need more significant prosecution of those crimes, it sounds like.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a political thing, and it just needs to change, because it's not acceptable for anybody. But I don't know if you saw the video on Channel 4, it's on there on the line, but literally the video that I showed, because I have them on video, it took them less than 15 seconds to open the door.
Yeah.
And get in. I mean, so it's not the first time they've done it.
Sorry about that. I mean, it's got to be such a pain to deal with something like that.
It is. It's just frustrating because, I work 7 days a week, and again, I have all those small businesses. And these guys that are in the store, they don't make a ton of money. You know what I mean? It's more a hobby kind of thing. So for somebody to come in and take it, but on the positive side, it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
There was, they popped the lock, they didn't smash the door. They didn't break the glass cases, which has happened in some of the other antique stores. So again, I always look at the positive.
During the pandemic, business came to a screeching halt. You're so dependent on foot traffic. How did you manage to push through over the last couple of years?
So I have a really good relationship with my customers. I focus on customer service. So obviously when we were closed, there was nothing going on. We did some curbside stuff when they allowed it. But again, it's a matter of doing advertising and changing it around. I don't advertise in the same spot because you get the same customers. But Visit Aurora, I've gotten, from the magazine, I've gotten deals. Customers coming in and different magazines that I've advertised. So you just have to work.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it.
We're in a time when online shopping has hurt brick and mortar retail, but the Heirlooms Antique Mall has weathered that storm, even thrived. You said this has been your best year so far. I imagine because that kind of shopping is very experiential. You know, people love hunting for treasures. Is that what keeps the foot traffic so strong, that it's an event?
I believe so, because it's an experience. It's a memory. To me, an antique store is the best place for like a first date or a second date.
Yeah.
Because you get to know the people. You see the music that they pick up. You see the book that they pick up, or if they're attracted to the bones or the minerals and gems that we have. So you get to know each other that way, because when you pick that plate up that your aunt had, you tell the story to the person you're with, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I learn a lot from my customers about their families and history.
That's fascinating. So there's an emotional connection that your space brings that a generic big box retailer, they can't match that.
Absolutely, and it's even shopping like for a gift, right? So, you know, at one point there was probably a stigma about giving used things, but, you know, if you know someone who's, you know, a heavy metal guy, you can go and you can get something heavy metal specifically for that person that nobody else is going to have because it's vintage, right? So it's a lot better than going to a new store and buying something that 20 other people can have.
Do you find that some of your customers are looking for items with charm, with that specific craftsmanship, that almost like hipster urge to reject mass-produced cheap plastic crap?
Absolutely, like I said, and again, it's more personal. They come in and they say, you know, I'm shopping for so-and-so, and they're into this particular thing, so we can point them to that.
It's easy to find yourself looking at everything, and next thing you know, a couple of hours have passed. There's magic in that space. It's not a museum, but it's got a similar kind of energy, a time machine energy almost. You don't mind visitors just getting lost in the store?
No, absolutely not. No, I encourage it, and I encourage them to have fun. Like for me, you know, I remember when I see a plate back when I was a kid, we would go to a different aunt's house every month, right? And so you see the picture that reminds, and you know, or the plates that they used to use. So you have a memory. Like an antique won't bring back a bad memory usually.
Yeah.
Unless it's a leather belt. Those are terrorized for me. But not, just kidding. But no, like, you know, it's always a positive memory. And it's fun. Like you get the kids that come in and they don't know what a rotary phone is. You know what I mean? So it's fun to see the different generations.
I was curious, you know, looking through your Facebook posts, there are human skulls available for purchase.
Yeah.
How is that possible?
So we have one in there right now, and we have a couple of cast replicas, but a lot of times they're bought from where museums and hospitals and stuff like that. They sell their excess.
And it's not just there for the macabre. I mean, there's also, I remember you had a post of a skull that, you know, had been decorated by a specific culture, and you kind of told the story of that within, you know, the item. It's important to understand that a lot of these items that you're selling, they have a cultural significance, and there's a reason why they're valuable and important.
Absolutely. And then, you know, we have medical professionals that come in and they want some of that. They want some of the old tools, the different things that they have, because for their office displays, just like barbers will come in to buy straight razors, and they make shadow boxes and stuff like that to display the tools of the trade. So yeah.
Do you have any favorite odd items that have come through the mall?
Well, so I'm a rusted metal guy, so
Okay.
I love signs and everything like that. So, you know, with the TV show, it's gotten a little more expensive to buy the stuff that I used to buy cheap. But that's what I like, is the rusted metal. I got a life-size Elvis in the store right now.
Nice.
I got some slot machines that are really cool, you know, that pay out and they work and stuff. So
how often does it happen when one of your vendors brings in an item and you say, I got to have this for me? This is for my collection.
So my wife has put the brakes on that for me, but when I first bought the store, so I just bought another building in Texas, but I got two 7,500 square foot buildings in Texas that are full of things.
Yeah.
And so I can't store the stuff in my house anymore, so I got to take it down there.
Part of the guidance that you give to the vendors, I imagine sometimes, is in pricing. Do you give guidance? Do you say like, hey, you have this way undervalued, or there's no way you're going to move this?
Well, so everybody should work on a margin, right? So, and again, the nature of the business is you have to price it so that you have your rent. They have to pay rent. They have to pay commission. They have to pay credit card fees.
Right.
Right. And then they have to, when we have sales, we don't have a lot of sales. Now next month is our anniversary, so we'll have the anniversary sale for the month of August. But so they have to do that. So, it's up to them. And again, so some dealers buy better than others, so they can do it. Some people buy high so they don't have to mark up, but yeah.
For the casual listener, if you mention antiques, it immediately conjures up images of Antiques Roadshow. Have you noticed that phenomenon having an impact on the industry and your business in particular?
So right now, what's hot again is the mid-century stuff.
Yeah.
We focus again not on mid-century, so we have some of the antique furniture. We have some vintage things. Truly, like, to be an antique store, it's hard. So you have to have vintage. And for the longest time when I bought the store, I would be telling people, oh, that's not old, it's from the 70s.
Right.
And then I was telling that to this younger customer, and they looked at me with this look. And then I started thinking, and then I didn't realize it was 50 years ago.
Yeah.
Time, as you get older, time goes by, right? So, then I stopped saying that it wasn't that old when it was from the 1970s.
Yeah. I noticed that you were selling a Commodore 64, which was the first computer that I remember playing with as a little kid, and it was like, oh wow, that's an antique now. That's a collectible now.
It is. It's funny, and even the Nintendos and stuff like that. We have a dealer that deals in Pokemon cards, which was passed from me from being a kid. But the original Pokemon cards are quite collectible. A
great place to go on a date, we've learned today. A great place just to spend a couple of hours and enjoy all that there is, and obviously to spend a few dollars. Definitely not undervalued. The Heirlooms Antique Mall, one of the top 30 things to do in Aurora. Learn more at heirloomsantiquemall.com. You can also visit them at 1947 South Havana Street, or find them on Facebook or Instagram at Heirlooms Antiques CO. Scott Davenport, thank you for taking the time today, sir.
Oh, thank you. It was my pleasure.
Hey, thank you for listening to the Gateway to the Rockies podcast. Visit Aurora is the official destination marketing organization for the city of Aurora, Colorado, and acts as the primary liaison between meeting planners and hotel partners. As Aurora's Convention and Visitors Bureau, Visit Aurora's mission is grounded in showcasing Aurora as a premier destination for meetings, business, and leisure travel. Visit Aurora represents more than 75 plus hotel properties with 13,500 plus guest rooms and more than 1 million square feet of meeting space, including Colorado's largest resort, Gaylord Rockies Resort and Convention Center. As Colorado's third largest city, Aurora is located minutes away from Denver International Airport and showcases mountain views, memorable meeting spaces, and 250 plus international eateries that offer a unique experience for each and every visitor. As the gateway to the Rockies, Visit Aurora's role in the local community goes beyond marketing the city as a destination. The Visit Aurora team is here to assist you with your Colorado visit, from facilitating your meeting, event, or convention to helping you discover local flavor and attractions. Go beyond the boardroom in Aurora, Colorado. For more, visit us at visitaurora.com.